just record.
Om Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Shashivaranam Chaturbhujam Prasannabadanam Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Me Sada Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. We are studying the condensed version of the text Viveka Chudamani and completed 65 verses out of the total of 108 verses. And from the 61st verse till the 65th, 61 to 65, the Acharya, extends the topic that he was discussing earlier. And that topic was Atma Anatma Viveka. And he elaborates on the nature of Atma, which we saw in our last session. And the Guru talks about Atma by mentioning 6 points that help in understanding its nature. And what are these 6 points? First, Atma is Swayam Jyotihi, self-effulgent, self-shining. See, Atma is of the nature of consciousness and it is self-revealing. Everything else is revealed by consciousness. But consciousness is revealing by itself. Okay. Second point, it is Panchakosha Vilakshanaha, distinct from the Panchakosha. We have seen this. It's not a part, product, or property of the 5 koshas. It is distinct from them. Third point, Avastatraya Sakshi. Avastas, what are those? 3 states of experience: dreaming, deep sleep, and waking state, of course. It is the witness of these 3 states. Fourth point, Nirvikaraha. Atma doesn't ever undergo any change. And the 5th point, Niranjanaha. Niranjana means untainted by any association. 6th point, Sadananda. Sadananda means always of the nature of fullness, of the nature of limitlessness. Sadananda. So 6 points in all of them pointing to the nature of Atma. And this Sakshi, which is Atma, can be recognized by the person who has that Viveka, the Atma Anatma Viveka. Now, hearing this from the Guru, the student has a doubt. So he asks the Guru, "Oh Guru, when these 5 koshas have been negated as Anatma, then I do not see anything other than blankness. So is there something to be known by the one who has this Atma Anatma Viveka? Because I am seeing only blankness." Guru tells the Shishya, what you said is true. Atma indeed cannot be known as an object of knowledge. However, through a very subtle intellect, you will know that Atma. You will know that Atma as one who experiences all the modifications in the objects of knowledge. And also the absence, which happens in deep sleep, that also. However, you can never experience Atma. It is ever the experiencer, never the experienced. And you will know Atma shines independently without any borrowed help. Atma reveals itself in the buddhi as I. And it reveals itself as I in all the 3 states of experience, waking, dream, and deep sleep states. Now, this Atma of the nature of consciousness intimately pervades the Panchakoshas and illumines them. It illumines the Panchakoshas without undergoing any change at all. And it shines as that Ananda, and it shines as the awareness, which is Nitya, not subject to time. So may you recognize that Atma as thought now as you, says the Guru. Recognize this Atma as you yourself. So in this manner, from verse 60 to verse 65, Acharya explained the essential nature of every individual. That essential nature, Atma, is the consciousness principle. This understanding is the first stage of the understanding of the truth of oneself. Now, from the next verse, which we'll see now, the Atma, the Acharya explains the essential nature of the entire cosmos. Earlier it was the individual. Now we move on to the entire cosmos, macrocosm. So what is the essential nature of everything other than me? So what is the truth of the cosmos, which includes all those billions and billions of stars, all within time and space? This is the second stage of understanding the truth of oneself. Second stage. We will see now verse 66. Brahma Vinnatva Vijnanam Bhavamokshasya Karanam Yenadvitiyamānandam Brahma Sampadhyate Buddhaihi. So now Acharya says that the essential nature of the cosmos is Brahman. Brahma. Brahman is the universal self, the essence of the entire cosmos. Now this Acharya is using Brahman for the first time here. So this is now an introduction to Brahman. See, in the first level, we saw Atma is the essential nature of every individual. Now here at this second level, it is said Brahman is the essence of the cosmos. Now what happens in the third stage, which you have not yet seen, the Acharya will say the universal self, the essence of the macro, and the individual self, the essence of the micro, both are one indivisible principle. Indivisible principle. This is called Atma Brahma Aikyam, third stage. And in the Upanishads, there are very many statements which state this Atma Brahma Aikyam. What are they called? Mahavakya. And one of the Mahavakyas is Tat Tvamasi. You are that. Tvam. Tvam means you. The individual self behind this body, mind, sense complex is same as Tat, that universal self behind the entire universe. So this is the third stage. Now this verse gives the overview of that stage, the third stage. Let us look at that verse. It's just an overview. Brahma Abhinnatva Vijnanam. Abhinnatva. Brahma Abhinnatva. Vijnanam means knowledge. Abhinnatva means that oneness, non-difference, oneness. Brahman, of course, the ultimate reality of the cosmos. So Brahma Abhinnatvam, oneness of Brahma. The oneness of Brahma with what? Here we have to supply that word. Atma. Atma, which is the truth of the individual self. So the statement now becomes what? Atma Brahma Abhinnatva Vijnanam, which means the knowledge of the oneness, knowledge of the non-difference between I, the truth of the individual, and Brahman, the truth of the universal self. This is an introduction to this knowledge. So the Acharya implies that he is going to elaborate on this later. And now he states that this knowledge of that oneness is Bhava Mokshasya Karanam. Bhava means becoming. Bhava Moksha, freedom from becoming, which is same as freedom from the Punarapi Janam, Punarapi Maranam cycle, release from samsara. So Bhava Mokshasya Karanam means the release from samsara. And now we have to add one word to this statement. What is that word? Only. The only means of release from samsara. There is no other way of release from samsara. Only this knowledge. So, yena means by which? By which? By this knowledge. By this vijnanam. Brahma sampadhyate buddhaihi. Means Brahman is attained by the buddhai. Means jnanis. The wise people attain that oneness with Brahman. And this verse adds two words to the nature of Brahman. Brahman is of the nature of Advitiyam and Anandam. Advitiyam, Dvitiya, no? Non-dual Advitiya. Secondless, you can put it that way. One absolute reality without a second. Advitiyam and Anandam. Anandam. Happiness. Anandam is embodiment of Ananda, happiness. So, one who has got that knowledge, Jnani, we don't say Jnani is happy. Jnani is also happy because, Jnanam gives him mental happiness. More than that, the Jnani claims, I am happiness itself. Okay, to sum up this verse, so the release from samsara is gained by the wise people from knowledge. Knowledge of the oneness of Brahman and Atma. And Brahman is of the nature of non-dual happiness. Now, this nature of Brahman is further explained in the next verse. Now, this verse is in irregular meter. So, we cannot exactly recite it. So, I will simply read it. Verse 67. Satyam jnanamanantam brahma vishuddham param swatas siddham nityanandaikarasam pratyak abhinnam nirantaram jayati. In this verse, the Acharya quotes the definition of Brahman taken from an Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. Second chapter, Brahmavalli, Brahmanandavalli also called that. So this statement is hence a Shastra Pramanam, straight. Statement, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So Brahman is that, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, three words. Satyam means what? Absolute reality. We have seen that earlier. What is absolute reality? Absolute reality is that which is independence existence of its own. Independent existence. And then what does that independent mean? What does it mean? From Vedantic point of view, other than Brahman, other than Atma, Brahman same as Atma, everything else has got dependent existence. It is Brahman that gives existence to everything else. Everything else borrows existence from Brahman. So the world we experience in a waking state is borrowed existence. That reality in the waking state is called experiential reality. Empirical reality, borrowed reality. And of course, we experience this reality through our sense organs as sound, touch, color, form, taste, smell, through this. So that is experiential reality. Absolute reality, experiential reality. Now there is another reality, third one. It is the reality of dream world. This is only experienced by the dreamer during sleep, third one. So three types of reality. Subjective reality, it's called, dream is called subjective reality. Empirical reality, waking state. Absolute reality, consciousness principle, Brahman. Out of these two of them, subjective reality means dream, empirical reality, waking, both are within time and space. And both of them exist by borrowing reality. So the dream world borrows reality from the waker. So the subjective reality, dream, borrows reality from the empirical reality, the waking, and the empirical reality, waking, borrows reality from absolute reality, which is Brahman. Absolute reality is the only one which is intrinsically real. Intrinsic existence is there. So therefore it is called Satyam, the absolute truth. This is Satyam. Okay, next word, Jnanam. So here, Jnanam means nature of consciousness. Consciousness, which has got those 5 features, which I've seen many times earlier sessions, as the nature of individual. We know that. So, Brahman's nature is presented as that very consciousness. So we need to understand that, one thing we need to understand, that is, Brahman is not a combination of Satyam and Jnanam. No, it is not a combination of existence and consciousness. Brahman is not a combination of anything for that matter. So the two words actually, Satyam and Jnanam, they are synonymous, they are the same. And therefore, we don't say, Satyam and Jnanam and Anantam. We just say, nature of Brahman is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. So the Anantam, what is Anantam? Anantam means limitless, no Anta. So indicating, that consciousness is not a temporary product of the brain, which exists only in the brain. No. Consciousness is manifest in the brain, no doubt, but it also exists outside the brain. It pervades everywhere. This all pervasiveness of consciousness cannot be proven by logic. It is known only through Shastra Pramana. Oh, so that consciousness is Anantam, as mentioned in Taittiriya Upanishad. So, Anantam, limitless. Brahman is not subject to any limitation. Now, the Vedanta talks about, threefold limitation. Threefold. Spatial limitation, limitation in space, time-wise limitation, limitation in terms of time, and object-wise limitation. Now, all objects in the universe, all objects are subject to this threefold limitation. So what is this spatial limitation? Okay, take your own body, for example. You are now in front of the screen. So that being so, you are only located there where you are. You cannot be, somewhere else at the same time. No, cannot be anywhere else at the same time. So space-wise, your body is limited to that space where you are in at the moment. What about time-wise then? Time-wise. Because your body is there only at the current time. Your body cannot be there simultaneously in the past or in the future. It is limited time-wise also. Space-wise, time, object-wise. See, your body is of the particular form, human body of a human being. So at the same time, you cannot be, an object like a rock, for example, no, or a tree. Object-wise, your body is limited. The status of you being a human being limits you as only that form, object-wise limitation. So Brahman is not subject to any of these three limitations. It is Anantam, limitless. So Brahman is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, and Vishuddham Param Swatasiddham. Vishuddham. Vishuddham means always pure, free from any type of impurity. Now, when do we say something is pure? We say it is pure when it does not contain anything other than what it is. So when we say that Brahman is pure, it does not have anything other than itself, ever pure. Vishuddham. Param actually means transcendental, absolute. Transcendence means not within the realm of time and space. It transcends both. Therefore, it is not related to any object within time and space. Non-relational relationship. Okay. Swatasiddham, what does that mean? Self-existent, self-revealing. Self-revealing as the consciousness principle. And there's no need to prove that consciousness exists. Why? Because you are a conscious being. The very fact that you are a conscious being means consciousness exists. Self-evident. Swatasiddham. And next, Atma is Nitya Anandya Ekarasam. Nitya, always. It is of the nature of eternal Nitya. Eternal Ananda without any gradation. See, while going through this Anandamaya Kosha in our earlier sessions, we saw that the Ananda of this Anandamaya Kosha is what? It's an experiential Ananda. We say it is reflected Ananda. Now, we very well can infer a reflected Ananda is possible because there is an original Ananda. Then only reflection is possible. Brahman happens to be that original Ananda. It is the non experienceable Ananda of Brahman. Okay. Reflected Ananda is experienced. So this Ananda is mentioned in the verse of the nature of two, Nitya and Ekarasam. Nitya, eternal, always present. Ekarasam, one form, always in one degree. There is no gradation. So from this nature of Ekarasam, we can distinguish Ananda from bliss. Ananda is different from bliss. How? Bliss is experiential. And we experience in varying degrees bliss. We can experience bliss in the form of mild joy. That is also bliss. To great pleasure. That's also bliss. Okay. Then bliss is anitya. Fleeting, comes and goes. Bliss, they are different from the ananda of Brahman, which is ever present, always in one degree. So, Brahman's nature is Nityananda Ekarasam. That clarifies it. And it is Pratyak Abhinnam. Pratyak Abhinnam is what? Pratyak means individual self. Abhinnam, non-different. It is identical. Pratyak Abhinnam is not separable from itself, not separate from itself. So Brahman, the ultimate absolute reality, is not different from the individual self. Atma. There is oneness. So this actually is a Mahavakyam. Pratyak Abhinnam. And Nirantaram, no anta, Jayati. Literally, the word of Jayati means to stand victorious. So Nirantaram means all the time, always. So this we can translate as remain supreme all the time. Nirantaram Jayati. So Brahman remains supreme all the time. Means after dismissing everything else, it stands out as the ultimate reality. Standing out. That's what it is. Standing out, standing victorious. Nirantaram Jayati. To sum up these words, Brahman is defined as existence, consciousness, limitlessness. It's free from impurities. It is transcendental, beyond time and space. It is self-evident. It is happiness not bound by time or degree. And it is always available, non-separate from oneself, standing out as the ultimate reality. Now, what is the relationship between Brahman and the world? That is explained in the next verse. Sad Brahma Karyam Sakalam Sadaiva Sanmatrame Tanna Tatonyadasti Asti Yo Bhakti Natasya Mohaha Vinirgato Nidritatvat Prajalpaha. Nidritavat Prajalpaha. Okay. So, the Upanishad says Brahman is the cause of the universe. Sat Brahma Karyam Sakalam. Sakalam, all the time, entire universe. Sat Brahma. Sat Brahma, Sat, of course, pure existence, of the nature of pure existence. Karyam. Karyam means product. Sat Brahma Karyam Sakalam. So, the product of Brahman, of the nature of pure existence, is the entire universe. The entire Jagat Prapancha is born out of Sat Brahman. And Sadaiva Sanmatram Etad. Sat Eva Sat Matram Etad. Sada Evam. Sada always. Sat Matram Eva. Existence alone. Always existence alone. This Brahman is always existence alone. Etat na tataha anyat asti. Na anyat asti. So, other than Brahman, the world doesn't exist. The world has no existence of its own. Question arises. How can the Acharya say that the world doesn't exist when I am experiencing the world? Acharya, what he means is the world is existent but with borrowed existence. It is not absolute existence. The easiness in everything is Brahman. We can take the case of moonlight. So on a full moon day, we experience the bright moonlight, brightness of the moon in all its glory. Okay. But we very well know that it is not actually the light that is produced by the moon that we experience. You know that. What is it? It is a reflection of sunlight that we experience. So in a similar manner, a jnani experiences Brahman in every object in the world that he sees. As that very easiness, that's what he sees. Jagat Anubhava for him is Brahma Anubhava. For him, the experience of the world is experience of Brahman. And Asti iti ya vakti, the one who says that there is another thing, that person. One who says that there is another thing apart from Brahman. One who says that the world has got independent existence. That's what it means. What about him? Na tasya mohaha vinirgataha. His delusion has not gone. Means he's still deluded. And nidritavat prajalpaha. Nidritavat, dreaming. His words are like the blabbering of a dreaming man. His words are like the prattling of a dreamer in the dream. That's what it means. Whose words? The one who says that the world has got independent existence. Now let us look at the man who is dreaming. Because in the dream, the man will never admit that he is in a dream. Because to him, the world, the dream world is very real. Because the test of reality, what is that? ETU. ETU is the test of reality. Test of experientiability, transactability, and utility. ETU. Now, has the dreamer got that ETU in that reality? The dreamer will say his experience in the dream world is real. It's got ETU. It's a solid world for him. He's experiencing it. He's able to transact also in the dream world. He's able to transact. Transactability is there. And dream world has got utility. Because it gives him, joy, sorrow, all this. So his world passes the ETU test. He will assert that the world exists independently in dream. But we very well know that it is all untrue. He is just blabbering. The dream world is unreal, we all know. And the dreamer, upon waking up, he will admit that the dream world is unreal. He will admit that the dream world is only a projection. He gave it existence. He gave it reality. But it is only on waking up that he will declare that dream world is unreal. Only on waking up. Okay. Now, if this man gets jnana and he comes out of the spell of Maya, then he will assert that the waking world no doubt exists, but the existence of the waking world is given by me. That's what he'll say. He will say that the world has got dependent existence. Because when he gets that jnana, and when this man says so, this jnani, he has become what we can call a super waker. See, like the waker who came out of the spell of sleep and came to know that the dream world is something that he gave existence to, the super waker jnani comes out of the spell of Maya and recognizes that the waking world is something that he gave existence to. Of course, unlike in the dream world, when the man has got that spiritual awakening and he comes out of the spell of Maya, his waking world, that won't disappear. It continues to exist. However, jnani recognizes the reality and says that I am not an ordinary waker, I am a super waker. I alone lend existence to this world. I alone lend reality to this world. I am the only reality. Jnani says that. And when is Jnani, and so the Jnani, he knows that the person who says that there is anything other than Brahman is just blabbering like a dreaming man, says the Acharya. So, to sum up this verse, the entire world has come from Brahman, which is the nature of pure existence. There is nothing other than Brahman. And his delusion has not gone for one who says there is something other than Brahman. And such a person's words are like the blabbering of a dreaming man. Okay, now in the next verse, the Acharya indicates that the unreality of the world is very much emphasized in the Upanishads by giving one example. Verse 69. ब्रह्मैवेदं विश्वमित्येव वाणी श्रौति ब्रूतेऽथर्वनिष्ठा वरिष्ठा तस्मादेतद् ब्रह्ममात्रं हि विश्वम् नादिष्टानाद्भिन्नतारोऽपि सत्स्य वरिष्ठा श्रौति वाणी. The great sentence belonging to the Shruti, the Vedas, Atharva Nishtha, that obtains in that Atharva Veda, Atharvana Veda, also called. Brute states, what does that sentence state? Idam Vishwam Brahma Eva. Idam Vishwam Brahma Eva iti. This world is Brahman alone. And this great sentence belonging to the Shruti that obtains in the Atharva Veda that declares that this world is Brahman alone. And where does it come? Mundaka Upanishad. That belongs to the Atharvana Veda. So the essence of this Shruti is the world, the exact sloka states, the world in front of you is Brahman, behind you is Brahman, to your right is Brahman. You look to the left, it is Brahman. You look above, Brahman. Look below, nothing but Brahman. Brahman everywhere. World is nothing but Brahman. This is what the Shruti stresses. Even though the world changes every moment, it is non-separate from the changeless Brahman. Acharya continues, Tasmat, etad Brahma matram hi vishwam. This world is Brahman alone. And adishtat na bhinnata aropitasya. Adishtanam in the word Vedanta means that which supports. Adishtanam. Now the real is called Adishtanam because the real supports the unreal by lending existence to it. Like gold lends existence to ornaments. The movie screen lends existence to the movie. Screen is real, movie unreal. The waker lends existence to the dream. He supports the dream. Support is done by lending existence. Therefore, whatever lend existence is real, it is Adhishtanam, the basis. We call it the basis. Basis lends existence. Unreal is supported by the real. Therefore, unreal borrows existence and it is called Aropitam in this verse. Aropitam. Adhyashtam is another word. So, Aropitam means that which is projected falsely. It's a false. It is false. Appearance, just an appearance. Superimposition. That's the word. Superimposition. There is basis and there is superimposition. So, Satyam is Adhishtanam, the basis. Mithya is Aropitam, the superimposed. The Acharya says that this Aropitam cannot exist separate from that Adhishtanam. Mithya cannot exist separate from Satyam, in other words. Or Adhishtat na bhinnata aropitasya. There is no separate existence of the superimposed from the basis. So the superimposed world cannot be separated from the basis, which is Brahman. It is like you cannot separate the movie from the screen. You cannot separate the gold from ornaments. That's how it is. To sum up, the great sentence that comes in Atharva Veda says, the world is Brahman alone. Brahman is the support, the basis on which the unreal world is superimposed. The world has no independent existence, and the superimposed world cannot be separated from Brahman, the basis. Now, in the next verse, the Acharya talks about a possible view a person may have. What is that view? He may have a view that the world is very much real. Now, how does the Acharya negate this? When he says somebody's world is real for him. Verse 70. Satyam yadi syad jagade tadatmanaha anantatvam hanir agama pramanata asatyavaditvam apishithu syad naitatrayam sadhu hitam mahatmanam. See, that the world is unreal is one of the cardinal principles of Vedanta. Cardinal principle. So in this verse, the Acharya says, suppose a person argues world is real. What is your problem? And there are very many philosophies which states that the world is real. Some say, that world is real because it's created by God. And another person may justify his conclusion, I see the world with my eyes, therefore it is real. Or the world is real because it is experienced by me. All this. Now the Acharya explains the drawback in such a belief. What are the drawbacks? He cites 3 of them. Let's see them. Yadi etat jagat satyam syat. If the world is to be taken as satya, real, tarhi then. Now the verse mentions 3 drawbacks, which I'll just name now before explaining. Atmanaha anantatva hanihi. Hanihi, we know what it is. Damage. Damage to the limitlessness of Atma. So that is first drawback. Second, nigama apramanata. Apramana means loss of Veda's validity as a pramana. Okay, third one. Asatyavaditvam api ishitu syat. Ishitu means for the Lord, Ishitu, Ishvara. Asatyavadi means one who speaks untruth. So what does this mean? The position of the Lord becomes one who speaks untruth. One who speaks untruth. That will be the position of the Lord, Ishvara. Let's go into the details. See, if the world is Satyam, then Atma, which is Brahman or Ishvara, is reduced to just a Nimitta Karana. That's all. Only an intelligent cause, only an efficient cause of the world, which is different from the world. If that hypothesis, if that belief is correct. It will be like the carpenter is the intelligent cause, who is different, of course, from the chair that he has created. Different. So we have 2 Satyas here. Ishvara, the Nimitta Karana, and the world, the creation. Then what will happen? World and Ishvara becomes mutually exclusive. Means by this statement, Brahman is not the world is not Brahman. When that happens, Brahman cannot be limitless, as we have unfolded earlier. Okay. Also, if we accept that the world is Satya, Brahman is limited, then the Veda cannot be considered as a Pramana. The Veda says that Brahman is one, non-dual, nothing is different from Brahman. That statement of the Veda becomes false. Shruti will lose its validity as a pramana. That is the second point. Nigama pramanata. Laws of Vedas validity as pramana. Second. Then you can still say, let Shruti not be the pramana. That will mean that Ishvara is speaking untruth. How? Because Vedas are attributed to Ishvara. Ishvara is the revealer of the Veda. Hence the statement in the Veda is untrue. Then what happens? Asatyavaditvampi ishetu syat. The position of the Lord becomes one who speaks falsehood, one who speaks the untruth. We cannot accept that, Ishvara speaks untruth, of course. So if the world is Satya, Veda is not a pramana, then Bhagavan, whom all followers, accept as the author of Veda, that Bhagavan will become a liar. Na etatrayam sadhu hitam mahatmanam. Etatrayam. All these three defects, these drawbacks, etatrayam, these three, na sadhu, are not proper, not acceptable, not sadhu. And hitam, nor is it beneficial. Why not beneficial? That way will not lead one to moksha. Mahatmanam means the great acharyas of tradition, great rishis. Okay, Mahatma is one who has got Shraddha in Shastra. One who has got Shraddha in Shastra is a Mahatma. So in a very broad way, Mahatma includes all seekers of knowledge. So these three drawbacks are neither acceptable nor beneficial to the great acharyas of tradition, and we can add also to all the seekers of knowledge. Therefore, understand the world as mithya is the bottom line of this book. World is mithya. It is not real. Let us stop here and recap what we saw today. So after talking about microcosm, the individual level, Acharya explained the essential nature of the entire cosmos, the macrocosm from verse 66. And he first introduces Brahman and gives the benefit of the knowledge of oneness of Brahman with Atma. Brahman is of the nature of non-dual happiness. The release from samsara is gained by the wise people from this knowledge. And this knowledge, what is there is, it is the knowledge of oneness of Atma and Brahman. And Brahman is defined as Satyam Jnanam Anantam. It means it is of the nature of existence, consciousness, limitlessness. It is free from impurities, beyond time and space, self-evident, happiness itself. It is happiness which is not bound by time or degree. And Brahman is always available and non-separate from one's own self, standing out as the ultimate reality. And this entire world has come from Brahman, which is of the nature of pure existence. There is nothing other than Brahman. So if there's a person who says that, there is something else other than Brahman, that means he continues to be in delusion. His words are like the blabbering of a man in a dream. So the great sentence that comes from Atharva Veda says, the world is Brahman alone. And Brahman is the support, the basis on which the unreal world is superimposed. Therefore, the superimposed world cannot be separated from that basis, which is Brahman. World has no independent existence. So if this world is to be taken as Satya, if it is to be taken as real, then what happens? There is a damage to the limitlessness of Atma. There is a loss of validity of the Vedas as a pramana, and the Lord's position becomes one who speaks untruth. These drawbacks are neither proper nor beneficial for the Mahatmas. Hence, we cannot accept the world as real. Now that Brahman is real, alone is real, and the world is unreal, is further explained in the next three verses, which we will see in our next session. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Ganeshji. Thanks. Another wonderful session. Any thoughts? We can go around. Suryaji, we can start with you.
Hari Om. Thank you, Ganeshji. Another wonderful session. Actually, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. This is the uh, quotation you explained in a very nice manner. Actually, I missed some of the classes. It's very interesting when you say the each sloka by sloka. I bought the Viveka Chudamani book and go through all the slokas and with the meanings. And I also recapture whatever you said earlier. I'm just YouTube, whatever you uploaded, just I'm doing all these things, listening, and it's very interesting. I will try to understand more about Vivek Chudamani. Thank you. I'm not a right person to share my thoughts because unless otherwise I don't have a thorough knowledge, I can't share anything. But it's very interesting, very, very interesting. Thank you, Ganesh.
Wonderful, Suryaji. Wonderful. You're on mute, Ganeshji. You're on mute.
Sorry. Sorry, Suryaji. And thanks for your comment. And, we are very much right. The best way, to really get the grasp of is to go through it again and again. So good you got that book. And as you go through the book and read the meaning and listen to the lectures, of course, things become more and more clear. It's not that anybody has got that perfect clarity, but it comes as we go on listening. Are you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Kananji, you have any thoughts, Kananji?
Hari Om. Nothing from me. Thanks a lot, Girejji. Wonderful session to introspect. Hari Om.
Yeah, Lalitaji, I think you are there.
Hari Om. Yes, sir. Thank you. Another wonderful session, Ganeshji. Thank you. Nothing from my end as well. We have to repeatedly listen, like Suryaji had said, and go through it again and again. And only then, we will try to understand little by little. And thanks a lot for the wonderful explanations week after week, Ganeshji. And thank you, Natarajanji. Thank you.
I have a few comments before Sampaji can go for that Aarti, and then we can take comments from Sampaji. I visited Swami Dayananda Saraswati's ashram. The first day when I visited, there was a question answer session by Swami Vididatmananda. And there were a lot of, all the satsangis were there. There were more than 100 people, and anybody can ask any question. There was a person, he's not an Indian, I think he's somebody from German or some European origin. He asked a question which is very interesting. He asked, how do we say that there is no, like your first line in today's session, you started with Brahman is self-effulgent, right? How do we say that? How do we say Brahman is self-effulgent? And that discussion went for nearly 15 minutes. Swamiji was trying to explain through various sources, but then it was a very interesting point that he raised. We say that Brahman is self-effulgent, but how do we say that? The gist of all that discussion, even in today's session, we saw that in various places that the movie screen or the gold ornament, Brahman is like the gold and it lends the existence to ornament, or the movie screen example where Brahman is like the screen, it lends the existence to the film or whatever. How do we say that the gold or the movie screen is the ultimate one? It doesn't have any basis for it. There is no further, beyond that. My only thought was, after listening to that, you can take any example. How does gravity work? How does the planets know that it has to be in this place? How does this universal order happens? All that, there must be some basis, and we call that basis as the Brahman. That's what I understood. You can go back, one after one after one, you can go back, but in the end, you will end up to a point where you will see there should be something that becomes the basis for everything, and that is self-effulgent. Otherwise, you will be in a chaotic situation where everything is mithya. Right? Even if we think Brahman is also mithya, it will also come up and go down. You are in a situation where Like imagine watching a movie where the screen always shakes, right? The movie, you will not be able to enjoy the movie, right? So you can't have a situation where there is something that is, transistent, and then you have the world is, on the top of it. It will never work. And so that was what I thought, when the discussion happened. That's what I was thinking, that there must be something that should be, solid. And I have listened to other gurus talking about this. In Buddhism, there is a concept that everything is moving. In Buddhism, there is no Brahman or a reality. In Buddhism, they talk that there is a reality, but that comes up and goes down, comes up and goes down. That is where the difference between the Vedanta and Buddhism. Whereas in Vedanta, we say there is a basis on which the Maya, is actually, superimposing, the whole world in front of us. But in Buddhism, there's an up and down. There is consciousness will come and then it will go off consciousness. It is very chaotic, and so Buddhists, they always go with, the sadhana. They always ask for, have you done the sadhana, which is meditation? Go into they say you go into that consciousness level and then come back to the normal level. That's what they talk. They don't accept Brahman. um, so I mean, it was very interesting discussion. I thought I'll share it with you, with everybody. It's a good discussion that I had in that ashram.
Thank you, Nataraji, for your thoughts. Really thought provoking.
Yeah. Sapaji, anything before we move to Aarti?
I think, see, today we discussed about Brahman as Satyam Anantam Brahma, and after that, we also discussed why it cannot be called as, something, we cannot divide it, it cannot be Pramana. Also, both point of view also given today. See, the way we have all seen is we can understand something only by looking at an object. Like, for example, we say that, when you just break the pot, the clay which came and the clay is one and the same. So when we break this, location, then this space and this space become the same. So we always can understand by relating to an object, right? So that is the logic to see what is it. But after going through certain extent, I think we need to just have that faith. We need to get into that faith mode. I mean, the closest what we can say is we can't see electricity, but we can see the effect of electricity, right? I mean, if you want to feel electricity, you hold it and see that then how it behaves, right? Otherwise, you see electricity through manifestation of, bulb or fridge or anything. But we believe that there is something which is coming in and manifesting through that and activating. So, I mean, after trying to grasp that there is something like that there, because that is all pervading, and anything other than is subject to change. So there should be something which is not subject to change, which is basically illuminating all these things, right? And to go transition from this object to a non-object mode is, after a certain point, we need to just have that faith. Have the faith, like scriptures, we discussed about scriptures, like have a very faith on the scriptures, have the faith on the gurus, and then believe and just deepen that faith, saying that there is something which is there, which is pervading all these things, and that can be only felt. Like last time I asked that why we are saying I am that, because whenever I say I, it is confined to that object, like it's all matter. So we need to go above the matter. When we want to go transcend above the matter, is just have the belief, saying that, that all pervading is something which is present in me also, which is making me function. But once I just drop the matter, then that then becomes one and the same. So we have to just move towards it, surrender and faith after certain logic, say that that's there.
Yes, Sampaji, I agree. That Shraddha is what is important.
Conviction.
So we have to have Shraddha in, Veda Pramanam. So like Nataraji said, if If Brahman is self-effulgent, then you have to say, Vedas say that. Therefore, it is true.
Yeah.
Veda is given by the Lord. We believe that, it is always correct. So we don't question that. It is one of the means of knowledge. You cannot question it by, applying any other means of knowledge. It's beyond that. So you just accept and then go forward. And then sooner or later, you will find that logically, it makes good sense as well.
Ganesh ji,
Yes, Kananji.
Kannan here.
Yes, Kananji.
What is the difference between faith and conviction?
No, that's...
Because when somebody said, have a faith on things, before we go to the faith, first we should get a conviction on that matter, isn't it?
Not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Faith is what you start with. Even if you're not convinced, you feel that, you have to tell yourself that it is correct. Because even blind faith,
Oh, okay.
you can get convinced with that also. But here, Shraddha, what we say, is not blind faith. It is just that you have a faith that something which is true, even though you don't know whether it's true or not right now.
Mm-hmm.
But sooner or later, you'll know that it is true. But you start off with the premise that, no, it is true. It is, you don't doubt it, but you know that sooner or later, I'm not fully convinced, but I'll still go ahead with this. And sooner or later, you'll get convinced. That's how it is. But you have to make a start. So you have that Shraddha, the belief that, yes, it is true. Okay. Then you can very well say, then you have that conviction that it's correct, and that's Shraddha. So it's difficult to explain it that way.
I don't know. I was thinking maybe there are three words, right? Belief, faith, and conviction. Belief,
Okay.
yeah, belief is something that I believe, but I don't know whether it's right or wrong. Believe is something I believe based on my experience, my knowledge, etc. Faith is something that I'm used to it. I like scriptures say, and therefore I have a faith in scriptures, and therefore I have a faith in what the scriptures say. I completely, like, for example, I have experienced it, and therefore I get the faith. That's how it works. Um, so Draupadi had the faith. That's why she called Krishna. When Duryodhana took that sari, she called Krishna because Draupadi had the faith. Conviction is you have to be convinced with the logic. So you also question the faith, and then you get convinced that yes, you go through the question answer session, you get full clarity, and then you ask all possible questions and get possible answers, and then you get okay, this is what it says. It's now I understand. That's probably convincing. That's like three different. We talk more here about faith. I don't know. I have not gone to that convincing conviction level yet, but you need to ask a lot of. You need to be with a guru for conviction and get that. But to me, yeah, faith is where we are all. Most of us are. Faith. We believe we have experienced in some points in our lives we would have experienced the presence of this super consciousness in a temple, when we do pujas or when we sing bhajans, when we do things, or when you read, when something suddenly hits your mind, light bulbs goes, you get that, right. I think this is what I felt.
One thing from my end to add is if we go by science, we believe in the different magnetic waves, electromagnetic waves. Never human would have even imagined how we call in a mobile and it gets connected through a particular wave which takes the not only the sound now through the internet. So, if we raise ourselves by means of meditation or other means to that particular frequency, we will be in a position to really realize the Parabrahman. But because we are limited, like for an example, a dog can listen to the ultrasonic waves. But our hearing frequency itself is 20 to 20,000 hertz. So these are some in this earthly thing which we can relate, and we can really see if a particular frequency is crossed beyond it, and if we raise ourselves to that particular level where our rishis were there and from Vedas had come, so then we will be able to do. But of course, for us, Maya, the daily thing and so on, we have to go, I don't know, like for at least personally for me, I have to go through many generations before I get that particular what should I say, that grinding where I'll be in that particular level. Hari Om.
Thank you, Lalitaji. I think that's a good point. So we have to tune our minds and get that conviction. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's go for Aarti, Sampaji.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavadichyate Om Shanti 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 Kayena Vāca Manasendriyarva Buddhyātmana Pāpavite Svāva Karomi Yatyat Sagalam Parasmai Nārāyanāyeti Samarpyāmi Swasti Prajābhya Paripālayantām Nyāyena Mārgena Mahi Mahīchāha O Brahmanestu Swamastu Nityam Lokā Samastā Sugino Bhavantu लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु गिरारमण गोविंदा गोविंदा
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om Satsang.
Tomorrow.
Hari Om.